The film starts as a woman named Frida is scrolling through the internet on her phone, until she finds news and video interviews with tech billionaire Slater King. In the past year, Slater has been disgraced as a result of inappropriate behavior, but he is hoping that people can forgive him and move on. As Frida continues to browse, she receives a notification about a gala event hosted by Slater's company. She and her best friend, Jess, work as cocktail waitresses for the event. After a while, Jess brings out dresses that she smuggled in for her and Frida to walk around as guests. Frida inadvertently draws attention to herself when her heel breaks, and she stumbles into a waiter. Slater shows up and helps her on her feet, even breaking off the other heel so she is even. Slater charms Frida and introduces her to a bunch of his close, rich friends. The night winds down, and Slater invites Frida and Jess to join him and the others at his own personal private island. The ladies fly to the island, where they are joined by Slater's friends, Rich, the therapist, Vic, the photographer, Cody, the private chef, Tom, the DJ, college graduate Lucas, Cody's sort of girlfriend/reality TV star, Sarah, party girls Camilla and Heather, alongside Slater's personal assistant, Stacy, who confiscates everyone's phones upon arrival. As Frida settles into her room, she finds a bottle of perfume that she sprays herself with. A maid speaks to her and can only say, "Red Rabbit," to Frida. Meanwhile, the other guests lounge and hang out by the pool, enjoying the island's luxurious amenities. Later that day, Frida joins Slater as he gives her a little tour of the area. He says there are snakes on the property that his employees have to kill. Frida also discusses with him how she has a small business doing animal-themed nail art. They pass by Stacy, who is carrying numerous red gift bags. As the sun sets, the ladies get to dress in white gowns, like the time of Greek women, and they join the other guests for dinner. Frida ends up straining her white dress before ingesting MDMA droplets. Everyone goes crazy as they start hallucinating and laughing hysterically. When Frida wakes up in her bed next to Jess, she finds that the red stain she had on her dress is now completely gone. The next day, the group gets to have loads of fun as they play around and take some more MDMA drops, and start misbehaving as the group are having a hot bath. Frida keeps wondering how Vic lost his middle finger. As the days blend together, the group's antics become more and more wild. Slater keeps asking Frida if she's having a good time, to which she replies that she's having a great time, as the guests keep getting wasted. That night, Slater and Frida get to bond. He compliments her scent and her unique style of nails while asking her how she got the scar on her head, but Frida doesn't remember anything. As the night wears on, Frida starts to experience brief flashes of memory while waking up to things she has zero memory of, unexplained dirt under her fingernails, for example. Frida goes to return Slater's vape pen to him, where he introduces her to Rich, even though she remembers meeting him at the gala the other night, but he looks at him weirdly and later leaves with a red bag. Meanwhile, Jess also starts to observe strange things, like every time they keep looking for her lighter and gets suspicious when she sees the maid that spoke to Frida taking care of some of the snakes. As the group's behavior becomes more and more erratic, Frida starts to feel a sense of unease. She asks Slater what day it is, but he doesn't answer. Instead, he asks her if she's having a good time, and she simply replies that she's having a great time. That night, Jess keeps looking for her lighter, and everyone gets to search themselves just in case. Sarah happens to be the one with it, so Jess decides to write her name on the lighter so she doesn't lose it. While the group is partying, Jess yells after a snake bites her hand. Slater kills the snake before having Jess's wound treated. Jess requests to be taken to the hospital, but they were on a private island with no hospital. She privately talks to Frida about how she feels that something is not right on the island. Frida thinks she's crazy because everything so far seems fine to her since she's having fun and living her best life, and doesn't want her to ruin it. Before she goes back to her room, Jess starts to get a nosebleed. The next day, Frida goes looking for Slater and runs into the maid again. She offers Frida a liquor made with the snake venom. Frida drinks some and complains about the strong taste. The old lady shows her the dead snake and keeps yelling "Red Rabbit." Frida wakes up in the morning with a red nose, feeling sick. She notices some mud on her fingers, but doesn't know how she got it. While having breakfast, Lucas shows up with a black eye, but doesn't know how he got it. When the men decide to go fishing, leaving the ladies behind, the ladies keep asking for a lighter. That was when Frida realizes that Jess is missing, because she's the only one who always carries a lighter with her. She asks the lady if they've seen Jess, however, they've all seemed to forget who Jess is. Frida starts freaking out and runs to her room, where a brief flashback shows Jess telling her to hide a knife behind a mirror. When she checks, she finds the knife. Sarah arrives with the lighter with Jess's name on it. She's starting to believe that something was wrong with the island. So, she shows Frida the scar on her arm, saying she doesn't remember how she got it. Frida takes her to the room she visited earlier and tells her that the perfumes in the red bags, which they also spray on their body, make them forget things. Frida offers her the snake venom to drink, just so she can get her memories back. Sarah quickly takes some gulps, and they decide to give some to Heather and Camilla to help them remember. After mixing the snake venom with tequila, they trick the ladies into having some shots with them, and the plan works as everyone douses every glass. Stacy comes along and joins them, but soon leaves because the men would soon be back. Frida tells Sarah to look out for the men, so she can go grab their cell phone and call for help. Later, Sarah starts having a nosebleed as she starts to remember everything the men did to them. Corey tries to prank her from behind and gets hit on the face. As soon as she sees the other men, she quickly apologizes and pretends to be her former self again. Sarah begins to yell fat blunt to alert Frida that the men are around, but she couldn't hear anything as she's trying to break the key to where their phones are kept. Meanwhile, Frida finds her cell phone, but no signal. Sarah tries a last attempt and screams very loudly.
Fat blood!
Frida hears it and quickly packs everything up and stumbles upon several pictures showing that Slater sells these perfumes in a red bag to other rich people. She starts to get a nosebleed and remembers seeing herself and the other ladies tied up and terrified. Jess is also remembering all the horrible things the men did to them, so Slater had her neck snapped. Slater enters the room, but somehow Frida manages to leave the room without him noticing. Over dinner, Frida starts to remember everything. The men have been raping the women and using the perfume to make them forget what happened. Rich had assaulted Frida recently, which is why he was taken back to see that she recognized him. Frida and Sarah start getting everyone to dance, so they can figure out their next move. Soon, Camilla and Heather's memories return, leading to Camilla stabbing Tom in the neck until he's dead, and Heather attempts to bludgeon Vic with a chessboard until Stan shoots her in the head. Stan finds and attempts to execute Frida until Sarah bashes him to death with a rock. The remaining guys have taken Camilla hostage in Slater's villa before he steps on her neck until she stops breathing. Frida is found by Stacy, who is angry that Frida made her remember what the men were doing to her. Stacy attacks Frida until she stabs Stacy in the heart. Outside, Sarah corners Cody in the woods and kills him. Lucas, the only one who wasn't participating in the atrocities, starts to remember what he saw the men do. Frida and Sarah show up outside to confront Slater. When Lucas opens the door, he gets shot in the head. When Frida makes it inside the villa, she fights Slater briefly until more memories come back. She was on the island the previous year and managed to escape, but still forgot what happened to her. She got a scar on her head from Slater letting her fall onto a rock, and she also bit off Vic's pinky. Slater goes on a rant and hits his vape pen one more time before he prepares to slash Sarah's throat. Soon, he becomes disoriented, as Frida put the flower toxin in his vape pen to make him forget. When he sees the dead bodies all around him, Slater starts to panic and knock over some candles, causing the villa to catch fire. Frida drags Slater out, while Vic is left to die inside. Frida appears to talk to Sarah next to her, but when the camera pans out, it is just Frida alone with an unconscious Slater, watching the house go up in flames. Some time later, Frida is at a gala event with Slater once again, though he is still being kept compliant with the flower toxin in his vape pen. Frida sees Rich again, who seems nervous to find that she remembers him. The host of the event then introduces Frida as both Slater's wife and the CEO of his company. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos.